Thank you so much. What a beautiful message to help us culminate the series that we've launched for this month, entitled the Will Series, as we're mindful of this power that we have within us. And we look at the disciple who represents this power esoterically, the eighth disciple of the master teacher Jesus, Matthew. Will is our ability to anchor the power of the divine, the power of God, the power of the universe in our lives. That when we will something into expression, something into being, when we will something into existence, as Ernest Holmes says in his writings, The Science of Mind, all of nature began to conspire on our behalf because we have willed it. And especially if our human will, is in alignment with the divine will for our lives. You know, there might be a difference. Did you know that? There might be a difference in the divine purpose and plan for our lives and the plans that we have for ourselves. Have anyone ever had, and I'm going to put it in this phrase, anybody ever had God to mess with your plans? I mean, you had one thing in mind, what you wanted to do, what your life wanted to be. You had the 5, 10, 15-year plan, where you wanted to go, what you wanted to do. And some kind of way, life got to messing with your plans. Now, when I say God is synonymous for me as life, as the great spirit, Akua. It's the one mind, the one presence. It really doesn't matter the name or title we give the presence and power, as long as there is a connection consciously and at heart, a relationship with it. So don't get caught up on any names. But have you ever had God to mess with your plans? You've started out doing one thing, you were headed in one direction. How many of you changed your major in college? Be honest. One time? How many of you changed your major twice? 3 times? Oh my goodness. Did you make it out? Okay. How many of you have changed your job? Your dream job, that you know the job that you wanted, you know the thing that you wanted to do. How many of you experienced your dream job? Did you change it? Something happened. I'm going to ask another question, but don't raise your hand. No, I better not ask that question. Just leave that alone, Jack. But we've had some shifts in our life. We've had some changes. We have had there is a divine plan for your life, and that plan is for good. And as we culminate this series, we're focusing on the will to let go and let God. The will to let go of how we think things should be. Oh, we're good at that, aren't we? The will to let go of how we think things should show up, how we think things should unfold, and to simply trust that there is a divine plan at work in our lives. How many of you believe that there is a divine plan for your life? Really? I mean, really, you really believe that? You really believe that you are just not here taking up space, occupying space in this vast universe, but you are here for how many of you are living on purpose today? That your life has meaning. And that by you living on purpose and the plan that's laid out for your life, you're helping the universe, you're helping the earth to be in balance. Isn't that something? Your living on purpose has an impact on my life as well. And when we all choose to surrender to a bigger plan, there's always a bigger plan for your life. If you can see it, that's not it. Yeah. You see, we only see the tip of the iceberg. Just like going, I hear, I'm looking forward to visiting, is it the Big Island? What's what's Mauna Kea? Is that the tallest mountain in the world if you consider how far it goes down into the ocean? Is that it? We can only see the tip of it, but God's plan for your life is so much bigger. And what often happens is that because we can only see as far as our vision will carry us, we can only understand it and accept it as far as our conscious mind can comprehend it. But when we choose to let go, just let go, to let go of control. Oh my goodness, that C word. To let go of control, to let go of what we desire and trust that there might be something bigger and something better in store for us if we're just willing to release what we have. Make a fist. Now, how much money can I get in that hand of yours? Huh? How much can you get in that hand closed? And this is what happened. Many of us go through life just like this. You know, I think it's Louise Hay says that when you experience orthorhongus in your hands, in your fingers, there's nothing right about that author. It's because there's an inability to let go. We're holding on to what has been, or we're trying to hold on because what we have, although it may not be the most comfortable, it's just familiar. And the question was asked, why is it that most people would rather suffer known hells than pursue unknown heavens? Why? Because it's familiar. People stay in relationships that are no longer working because it's familiar. People stay on jobs that they hate going to because it is familiar. People continue to move through life doing things that they really don't want to do because it's familiar. How many of you have ever done that? Be honest. You've been working on jobs that you didn't want to go to. You dreaded getting there and couldn't wait to leave, did you? How many of you ever been in a situation that you just did not want to be in? Some of you might be living in a place, in a space that you don't want to live in. But we stay because it's familiar. A part of letting go and working this divine will that we have is being able to trust that there might be a bigger plan for our lives. I love what John Maxwell says in his book, How Successful People Win. And he talks about, as we're willing to let go and let God, and letting go, it requires us to not only change, but to transform. It requires us to change. It might require us to be transformed and even transfigured. And he talks about why many people cannot let go. And he says here, and part of letting go is changing. But Quincy says change is inevitable. You know that, right? Everything must change. He says most people will not pay the immediate price to change and end up paying the ultimate price for not changing. Most people change only when prompted by one of three things. First, they hurt enough to make a change. Michael Beckwith says that most of us grow by one or two ways, either through pain or insight. We have to hurt enough to change, or we can get it through insight. How many of you read the book, The Alchemist? I love that book. I was given it years ago. And it's all about learning to listen to the universal language, how the universe speaks to us, and the universe God, how God speaks to us and aligns everything so perfectly. And as we learn to interpret the universal language, and we can do what Eric Butterworth talks about in the title of his book, we can get in the flow of life, and where there's no pushing and shoving. Yeah, it might require us, but it's going to move us. The waves, the stream, the river will lead us exactly to where we want to go. He says the second thing that prompts people to change is that they learn enough that makes them want to change. If you knew 15, 20 years ago what you know now, what would be different about your life? The third thing that he says that prompts people to make a change is that they receive enough. They receive enough that they are able to make the change. We get enough. We get enough insight. We experience revelation, inspiration, and we decide that there's something bigger, something better in store for us. One of my favorite books, and this is a book, the writer that helped to change my life. When I first started in Unity, it was 1 year after college. A famous Unity writer by the name of Mary Kupferle. 2 books that she wrote that I got at the age of 23 that put me on this whole trajectory, shifted my life totally. I told the 8 o'clock service I was going to law school. In fact, I was preparing to take the LSAT when I first came across her book. And her book, she says it, take time to be quiet, to be still and to contemplate that God's love is right where you are. That God's light is now shining throughout your mind to reveal what you need to see and know when you need to see it and know it. Listen within and let God's wisdom gently turn your thoughts over and over until the questions become answers, the doubts become newborn faith, and you will see that everything has been and is working for your good. Letting go says, I trust God enough to give up my control. I trust God enough to be willing to change. I said I was going to law school. That was my plan. My plan was to go to law school. You probably heard this before. Serve as a judge, practice law and then become judge and ultimately become governor for the state of Tennessee. That was my plan. My destiny was as governor of the state of Tennessee. And it was on the return from a pre-law conference at University of Iowa, walking around the track in meditation and listening and praying and asking, God, are you sure? Are you sure I'm supposed to go to law school? Are you sure it's law school? And you friends, when we really began to seek the divine will for our lives and pray the prayer as the master teacher taught, not my will, but thy will be done, and we listen and we assume the posture to hear from the divine will speak. And I heard the words, Jack, you're on the right track, but it's not laws of the land that you must learn. You must learn the laws of the universe that govern the laws of the land. And it was 2 weeks later that, not even 2 weeks, that I was asked by the minister of the Unity Church to teach my first class, and that started it all. If I had not asked the question, questions lead to answers. Answers will help solve problems. If you have a question, if you're facing a problem, and you're seeking an answer, maybe all we got to do is ask. But be willing to accept and hear what the voice of Spirit might tell us to do. Because once we hear it, we're accountable. To be able to let go and say, I take my hands off of it. How about if you extend your hands right now and just do it as an outer act? Some of you have been trying to hold on. You've been trying to force and manipulate, dominate, and control things in your life. Probably people in your life, too. Amen. I know. I can see. And I know. And we're trying to hold on, and we're hurting. Life hurts. The body hurts. The soul hurts. We're holding on out of fear. We're holding on out of familiar because it's familiar. We're trying to dictate and tell God what we want and how we want God to show up in our lives. But I just want to know, how many of you have the wisdom to keep the sun up in space? And how many of you tell the sun to shine? How many of you cause the earth to rotate around the sun? How many of you cause the moon to reflect the light of the sun? Who sprinkled the stars up in the sky? Who knows the number of hair that you have on your head? There is a wisdom. There is a knowledge. There is a supreme knowingness that governs our lives. And if we can get in sync with that, if we can get in flow of that, let go of our control. Say, I let go and I let God. And in that surrender, David says, when you surrender like that, the Lord becomes your shepherd. The law that you shall not want. God makes us to lie down in green pastures and lead us beside still waters and restores our soul. Yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you won't be afraid, for God is with you. God's rod and God's staff, they comfort you. God prepares a table before you in the presence of those who may not understand you and anoint you, give you illumination with oil that your cup might run over. Then you can say, surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life as I dwell in the house of the Lord. the law, the Lord of the universe forever. And friends, when you get sure in God and let God get sure in you, you don't have to worry, you don't have to fight, you don't have to labor, be up restless nights, tossing and turning, can't sleep, worried about what tomorrow will bring. You can say, I surrender. I lift mine eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help, for all of my help comes from the Lord of my being. God will neither sleep nor slumber. So you can go home tonight, go home today, take a nap, get in bed, don't worry. Have some mango. Rest well. Choose not to worry. Say, God, I'll let go and I'll let you. Whatever you want it to be, it will be just that. If it's not that, you don't intend for it to be that, and I'm going to be all right with it. However you choose to make it happen. The only prayer you need to pray to get there is a yes. That's the ultimate prayer. Yes to what you desire for my life. That takes really letting go of control. But I promise you, you will never be disappointed. Simple words. I say yes, Lord. I say yes to your will, Lord. I say yes where you lead. I will go. I say yes, Lord. I say yes. Some of you, you've been holding on. You need to surrender right now. Why don't you join us in singing? I say yes, Lord. Say yes to your healing. Yes to your wholeness. Yes to your prosperity. Yes to your breakthrough. Yes to illumination and inspiration. You have to say yes. I say yes. Where you lead me, where you lead me, I will go. I say yes, Lord. I say yes. God bless you.